This video is sponsored by Tbsp. Today we're making Kou Shui Ji, also known as mouth-watering chicken. Originating from Sichuan cuisine, this has gotta be one of my favorite easy Chinese dishes, or should I say appetizers, because this is typically served at room temperature as a super tasty side dish. Of course, I'll show you how to make Kou Shui Ji at home. It really is very, very simple, but also I want to conduct a special experiment today. Is it possible to take the concept of this genius dish and apply it to other flavor profiles? What I mean is, instead of making a classic Sichuan style Kou Shui Ji, can we create an Italian or Mediterranean style version, or even one inspired by flavors found in India, almost like a Kou Shui Ji chaat? I have never tried these variations, but I will today, together with you guys. But first, let me give you an overview of how the classic Kou Shui Ji works. Of course, there are dozens of variations, but this is a slightly simplified version I like to make. It all starts with tender poached chicken, which you can slice or shred. You make a simple sauce, chili crisp for an oily, spicy and aromatic base, grated garlic, grated ginger, light soy sauce for a savory base, sugar to round things off, dark Chinese vinegar for some tang, a little bit of salt and MSG, sesame oil for a nutty note, Sichuan peppercorn powder for some zing. You gotta mix that up and pour it all over the chicken. For the toppings, scallion greens for an herbal fresh note, crushed peanuts and sesame seeds for a nutty flavor, and some crunchy textural contrast. Definitely not my first time eating Kou Shui Ji, and also not the last. We have sweet, savory, tangy, nutty, all of those flavors in one bite. This is a fairy tale of a dish. This chicken is extremely tender and juicy. I would really say this is one of the world's great appetizers, so let's talk about how to make this and especially how we get the chicken so juicy. Typically, you'd start the cooking process with some boiling water. You add aromatics like scallions, ginger, and maybe some Sichuan peppercorns. Then you go in with your chicken, usually chicken thighs. I like to use chicken breasts. We'll get to that later. You then set the flame to low, gently simmer your chicken for around 7 minutes, and then you take it off the heat and let it sit in the still hot water for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how thick the chicken is. You then take it out, cool it, and then proceed with all the steps I've shown you before. This technique works super well once you get the hang of it, but as you can tell, this is also not exactly the most precise method. The challenge is not to undercook your chicken because you could catch a mean infection, but also not to overcook your chicken, because especially if you, like me, like using chicken breasts, they can turn really dry and stringy if not done correctly. So for today, I was thinking, what if we use the most precise cooking method of them all, which is of course sous vide. You can use any sous vide setup you want, they all work, but if you really want to do yourself a favor, let me introduce you to this video's sponsor, Tbsp. This is the Tbsp sous vide station, and I kid you not, this is the coolest and most advanced sous vide machine I've ever seen. First of all, this is an all-in-one design, meaning everything you need to cook food sous vide is in this one machine. Plus, of course, the reusable vacuum bags Tbsp sent me along with it. No more DIY setups with dozens of parts that awkwardly don't fit together. No, let me show you the Tbsp experience. So here's our chicken breast. Let's salt it up and add it to the sous vide bag, alongside a few slices of ginger, a few scallions, Sichuan peppercorns, and now let's vacuum seal the bag. And now look, this is the vacuum sealer that comes with the sous vide station. Now hold it over the valve, press the one button it has, and it's going to do all the work for you. Now simply put the sealer back. This is where it lives, where it attaches magnetically and charges via induction. So no messy cables ever. Now I filled the double layered tank with some water. So all we gotta do is slide it under the machine. And now watch this. I love good design. The sous vide station comes with a beautiful 12.3-inch screen where you can choose from tons of preset recipes, but in our case, I'll just set things manually. I want to cook my chicken at 66 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. So let's add our chicken to the water tank. If it's a floater, you can use Tbsp clip weights. They really did think of everything, and now all we gotta do is hit start and the chicken starts cooking. If you want to, you can always monitor the cooking process from anywhere in the world using the Tbsp app on your phone, which by the way comes with tons of other useful features. And once the chicken is done, you know it's been cooked exactly how you wanted it to, and you're ready to prepare your favorite dishes with it. I've been a fan of cooking sous vide for many years now, but using the Tbsp sous vide station is an honest game changer. If you're interested, do yourself yourself the favor and check out the link in the video description and use my special discount code. Thank you, Taifer, for sponsoring this video. Now that we know how Kou Shui Ji generally works, let's conduct our experiment and see if we can apply other flavor profiles to this genius dish. First up, Italian style. For the sous vide pack, we'll take 2 chicken breasts and season them with salt. We'll add a few sprigs of rosemary, lemon zest, and 2 bay leaves to infuse the chicken with classic Italian aromas. We'll then seal the bag and let the chicken absorb these wonderful flavors as it cooks. For the sauce, we'll mix 4 tablespoons of olive oil with 1 anchovy and 1 smashed garlic clove. We'll add a squeeze of lemon juice, a dash of salt, and some freshly ground black pepper. Let's give everything a mix and pour it over the sliced chicken. As for the garnish, we'll chop some fresh parsley for an herbal note. We'll add toasted pine nuts to add a nutty flavor and a bit of crunch, and we'll also include capers for a briny kick, and of course, sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on top to bring it all together. This looks like it has a bit of everything. Oh, and it's dripping. First of all, the tenderness of this chicken is just ridiculous. So the anchovy, unfortunately, didn't dissolve in the sauce as well as I hoped, but it still works. This one, compared to the Sichuan version, tastes a lot lighter, but it would taste even better on a big ciabatta sandwich. Very, very good. I feel like the pine nuts are maybe the most important part to this. I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. I think it would be a 9 out of 10 if we switched the parsley for some dill. Outperforming my expectations for sure. But now let's move to the one that I'm even more excited about. Is it possible to make an Indian style Kou Shui Ji? For the sous vide pack, we'll again use 2 chicken breasts seasoned with salt. We'll add some ginger, a few green chilies, and a few pods of cardamom to the bag. Sealing it up, we'll let these aromatic spices infuse the chicken as it cooks. Now for the sauce, we'll start with a base of creamy yogurt, a bit of each grated garlic and ginger, a sprinkle of garam masala and cumin for warmth, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and the same amount of MSG. Now let's mix it up well and spread it over a plate as a cozy bed for our sliced chicken. Now let's drizzle with tamarind sauce for tanginess and honey for sweetness. We'll also go in with some melted butter and drizzle that over the chicken. Top it with finely diced red onions and fresh cilantro for freshness. To add texture, we'll sprinkle some sev, which is a crispy Indian snack made usually from chickpeas or potato flour, and we'll finish with a handful of pomegranate seeds for a burst of sweetness and color. Now let's give this a taste. Have you ever seen videos of people eating street food in India, and this is exactly what happens? Like, you get something delicious, but then they add one chutney, another chutney, some yogurt, some sauce, and this topping, that topping, some sev, and in the end you end up with a plate pretty much exactly like this. Looks like a pretty good spoonful. So many things happening. This is intense. These are the absolute shit. I know what this looks like, but it's not what it looks like, because it looks like overkill. But it's pure awesomeness. This is my favorite out of the 3. So the Italian version, I feel like you could still argue, is kind of an Italian style Kou Shui Ji. But when it comes to this, I don't know how much this still has to do with the original dish. But I'll tell you one thing. It's delicious. Which other dish should we Kou Shui Ji next? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you again to Taifer for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the video description to get 10% off your purchase. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.